As stated in the Samyukta Agama, suffering does not come to destroy sentient beings. It is a great teacher that awakens us from ancient ignorance and leads us to reflect on the true value of life. Without encountering the stormy waves of trial, one cannot know the tranquil peace of the other shore. Without walking the thorny path of pain, one cannot realize the true value and joy of life. Therefore, when suffering arises, awaken the mind of the way within it. No one living in this world welcomes suffering. However, the Buddha taught us that suffering is a grand teacher that awakens our inner wisdom. When our lives are smooth and peaceful, we are often distracted by wealth, fame, and superficial grandeur. We forget to look deeply into our own minds. Yet, when fierce storms hit our lives and suffering arrives, we finally stop and ask ourselves important questions. What have I been running so busily for? What is truly precious in my life? Just as physical pain is a signal to care for our body, mental suffering is a useful alarm to check the direction of our life. Moments of suffering do not exist to break us. They are precious learning experiences to burn away empty attachments and deepen our inner soul. Rather than resenting suffering, please accept it as a teacher that builds your true self. In the Wudeng Huiyuan Buddha section, it is said, "Let go of all external ties on the outside and release all anger and attachment on the inside. When you reach a point where there is nothing left to gather or discard, that is the path of liberation from the ocean of suffering. It is the true Fangxiaju, breaking the chains of pain. When suffering reaches its peak, a person finally releases the heavy bonds of attachment. To someone whose hands are already full, no precious gem can be given. The nature of the mind is the same. When our minds are filled with stubbornness, believing things must be a certain way, and filled with greed, our entire life appears full of suffering and anxiety. However, when we can no longer bear the pain and finally empty the hands of our mind, the suffocation disappears and an open space opens within us. Letting go, or Fangxiaju, does not mean giving up on life. By releasing the empty attachments we tried to hold, we reclaim our original, clear, and wise nature. Suffering is a signal of wisdom, telling us to put down our heavy burden and find true peace. It is written in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, "Just as sages become stronger through trials, and gold becomes pure in the hot fire, a bodhisattva does not view suffering as an enemy. Instead, they take it as a precious friend that strengthens their inner character." How could the fruit of maturity ripen in a mind that has never been tempered? Ordinary people treat suffering as an enemy and try to run away from it. However, the wise welcome suffering as a grateful companion, sent to make them strong. Deep in the mountains, a large stone rock and a beautiful Buddha statue stood side by side. The rock looked at the statue and complained, "We were broken from the very same mountain rock. Why do people light incense and bow to you, while they step on me with their feet?" The Buddha statue smiled and answered calmly, "My dear friend, do you not remember? When the sculptor created me, I endured tens of thousands of hits from the chisel and blade. Yet, after just a few strikes of the hammer, you screamed in pain and cracked apart. Because I endured that endless suffering, I became this statue today. Suffering does not come to destroy us. It comes to smooth our rough edges and complete our beautiful character. When suffering visits you as a friend, do not try to avoid it. Welcome it as a precious opportunity to temper your resolve and become a more mature being. In the words of the Dhammapada, do not grieve over what happened in the past, and do not worry about the unseen future. One who accepts present trials with right wisdom and moves forward silently possesses a clear and solid inner light, unshaken by any storm in the world. The stumbles and failures we experience are the best medicine for building inner muscle. Just as physical exercise creates microscopic tears in muscle, which heal and make the body stronger, the mind becomes resilient by enduring and overcoming trials. When things do not go as planned, many people regret the past or worry about an uncertain future, tormenting themselves. However, moments of setback are the golden time to deepen your mind. When trials arrive, instead of feeling wronged and asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we need an attitude that thinks, "Through this test, my mind will become more flexible and strong." The power to turn stumbling blocks into stepping stones lies in this positive mind. When we accept even frustration as a lesson for growth, we become true masters of our lives, never losing our smile before any storm. As taught in the Avatamsaka Sutra, everything is created by the mind alone. Even when facing any obstacle, do not harbor anger or resentment. Maintain only a compassionate and pure nature. If your mind remains unharmed, no blade in the world can cut you. All trials will become fertilizer to bloom the flowers of wisdom. It is said that all things are created by the mind. Everything in the world is determined, not by objective pain itself, but by the attitude of our mind toward it. When we encounter rain while walking, complaining while getting soaked will not stop the rain from falling. It is wise to calmly open an umbrella or find a roof to take shelter. Reacting with anger when the world tests us is no different from shouting at the sky in the rain. Blaming others only increases our own inner turmoil. The harder the situation, the firmer you must anchor your mind, maintaining a bright and compassionate perspective. No matter how dark the environment is, if the lamp in your mind is lit, you will not lose your way. A positive attitude that views trials as opportunities is the most powerful weapon to navigate through difficulties. In the teachings of the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, make a lamp of yourselves and rely on yourselves as a refuge. Do not rely on others for refuge. Take the law of truth as your lamp and rely on truth as your refuge. Exert yourselves, do not be lazy, and strive forward diligently. Before entering nirvana, the Buddha left his final instruction: be a lamp unto yourself, and let the truth be your lamp. He taught us to move forward relying on ourselves and the truth. Once a young child took pity on a caterpillar, struggling to break out of its cocoon. Wanting to help, the child took scissors and cut the cocoon slightly open. The caterpillar emerged very easily, but its wings could not unfold properly. It could only crawl around and died shortly after. The pressure of pushing through the narrow opening was an essential process. It forced the fluids into the wings, making them strong enough to fly. Our lives are exactly the same. If we expect others to solve our pain or rely only on external help, we can never develop the wings of the mind to fly. Only when we trust the Buddha nature within us and take step by step on our own accord can we cross all storms of life and reach true tranquility. It is taught in the Sutta Nipata, like a lion unfrightened by noises, like the wind uncaught in a net, like a lotus unsoiled by muddy water. Do not look at the faults of others, nor dwell on their mistakes. Examine only whether your own mind is peaceful and generous, and walk alone like a rhinoceros horn. The reason we must forgive and be generous to others is not for their sake, but for the peace of our own minds. Holding on to hatred and resentment towards someone is like holding a hot coal in your hand, intending to throw it at another person. Before you can throw the coal, your own hand gets burned and blackened first. Anger directed at others ultimately destroys our own inner peace. Do not fixate on the faults of others or past events. Just as waves constantly wash over the ocean, misunderstandings and conflicts naturally arise in relationships. If you try to judge and punish every single thing, your soul will become exhausted. Even when clouds temporarily block the sun's original light remains unchanged. When you forgive and embrace with a broad mind, you can enjoy an inner peace, unbroken by any external disturbance. In the Platform Sutra of the Sixth Patriarch, it is written, "Lowering oneself to respect others is humility. Trusting one's original nature and striving by one's own power is self-reliance. Form bonds with courtesy without dependency, and remain steadfast without arrogance. Only then do you become a wise master of life." Asking others for help and depending on others for life are entirely different matters. A wise person knows how to lower themselves to ask for help, yet never hands over the steering wheel of their life to anyone else. There was a captain sailing across the sea. When a severe storm hit and tilted the ship, the captain immediately signaled a passing vessel and waved a flag to request rescue. Thanks to his polite and prompt request, a rescue ship approached. However, the captain did not sit idly waiting for help. He took the wheel himself, bailed out the rising water, and did his best to keep the ship balanced. When they safely returned to port with the rescue ship's help, everyone praised the captain's wisdom. Trying to solve everything alone is pride, while expecting others to do everything is a burden. Request help from others with true humility, but never lose the self-reliance to hold your own wheel. That is how you wisely overcome every trial in life. Namo Avalokiteshvara. The universe conspires to help you.